Hello there. Thank you so much for joining us. This is News Channel Nebraska. My name's Eric McKay. Let's take a look at our top headlines today. Governor Jim Pillen has requested a federal disaster declaration for Nebraska from President Joe Biden following the Arbor Day tornado outbreak. Pillen asking for federal assistance for a wide range of emergency relief costs, including debris removal, emergency protective measures, and individual assistance. Now, this request comes just days after the governor issued a statewide emergency declaration for Douglas, Washington, and Lancaster counties. The governor says the preliminary price tag from FEMA, about $11.5 million worth of damages. Almost 400 homes were damaged, about 160 of which were completely destroyed. Well, graduation weekend is here for many universities across the country. It's a time for celebration, and this year, trepidation. Some schools holding ceremonies this weekend are still reeling from protester arrests during pro-Palestinian rallies, and that's prompting concerns about safety. Amy Kiley has more.
Maybe graduation will bring everyone together and just have a good time.
Several universities that have seen pro-Palestine demonstrations with mass arrests have graduation activities this weekend. That's prompting questions about security as scenes like this one continue at some schools across the country. The University of Florida's main graduation is tonight. It's taken a hardline approach to demonstrators. UF praises the governor for maintaining, quote, law and order.
You have a right to express your opinions. You don't have a right to commandeer the lawn on a university campus.
Indiana University's ceremonies are today and tomorrow. Some demonstrators there want the school president out after police in riot gear broke up protests last weekend.
I've decided that I'm not going to walk in graduation. I can't do it. I cannot be there and salute these people and pretend like they have any authority.
At Ohio State University, the commencement is still on for Sunday after both peaceful and disorderly protests this week. Some students there say they ended high school during the pandemic. This time, they want a chance to walk across the stage.
We didn't get a COVID graduation.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Nebraska is among a coalition of right-leaning states suing the federal government over a recent ATF ruling. That rule seeks to require a federal firearms dealer license for anyone who sells a firearm for profit. It goes into effect on May 20th. But Mike Hilgers of Nebraska is one of 21 attorneys general suing to prevent the rule from going into effect. The suit was originally filed in Arkansas, arguing the rule is vague, a violation of the Second Amendment, and a circumvention of Congress. Bird flu was probably circulating in dairy cows for at least 4 months before it was confirmed to be the highly pathogenic virus. That's according to a new analysis by scientists with the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Their research also found infected cattle that had no apparent connections. Scientists say that suggests there are herds infected with the virus that haven't been yet identified. The study, the latest in growing evidence that appears to show H5N1 had a head start in the U.S. dairy industry for months before it came to the attention of scientists and government regulators. Last week, the FDA reported tests of milk from retail stores have shown inert remnants of the virus in about 1 in 5 samples. Further FDA testing confirmed the virus wasn't active in samples of pasteurized dairy products, so it can't make anyone sick. But experts have been strongly advising against consuming raw milk. Well, History Nebraska taking its Rehab Roadshow to Plattsmouth for an open house of a long-vacant high school building that now is residential apartments. Dan Swanson gives us a look.
Lofts on Main is today in an apartment building that provides unique and much-needed living space. But stepping onto the property also leaves no doubt about the building's roots as the Plattsmouth High School. Michael Sothan of History Nebraska said it's a great start to this year's Rehab Roadshow.
It was a building that was essentially falling apart, had been long vacant, and the community came together with developers and several other partners and have just made a project that's amazing.
Ryan Durant of RMDX Development said the $16 million project would not have happened if not for federal affordable housing funds, historic tax credits, History Nebraska's valuation incentive program, and LB 840 funds from the city of Plattsmouth.
It would never look like this today. We would never build a building with the facades or the woodwork. We truly preserved a building from getting destroyed and knocked down.
Architect Abby Hegeman said the building was built in 1918 at a time when society was advocating for school reforms to improve lighting and natural ventilation. It was decided to preserve the auditorium to reflect the desire of its community by showing the dazzling skylights and expansive windows.
At the end of the day, they want a successful project that's going to work functionally for them and this being an apartment building. But it's also got to preserve those character-defining features that mean so much to the integrity of this building.
The architect recognizes the cultural tale of the thick masonry walls that provided shafts for natural ventilation to the classrooms and the realities of damage while the building sat vacant for over 2 decades, from 1996 to 2019.
Historic properties need to be reused. They need to find new purposes, new futures.
Blue lockers lining the hallways and even a trophy case are tributes to the building's past.
The building still tells the story of what it was meant to be here for historically, but yet we also know that it needs to find that new use. And so we try to blend a little bit of the old with the new.
The Rehab Roadshow will continue this year with stops at Red Cloud and Norfolk. From Plattsmouth, I'm Dan Swanson, News Channel Nebraska.
The criteria is tough to become a certified local government. There are only 9 cities across the state who've done so, the latest of which is in northeast Nebraska. Luke Stera has more.
A town of just over 1,500 people is now one of only 9 cities in Nebraska known as a certified local government. Behind Neely's modest population lies a wealth of history, which Economic Development Director Lauren Sheridan Simonson says will be preserved and celebrated.
Northern Nebraska, and especially northeast Nebraska, has a lot of history behind it. And we thought if we start this process, we can get other communities interested in doing it.
Becoming a CLG isn't just a title, it's access to grants and financial support for preservation-related projects. For Neely, this means safeguarding iconic sites like the Neely Mill and the Trail of Tears marker.
Neely is rich on history, and we have to protect our historic treasures, landmarks, buildings, just the history that's within the city.
The journey to becoming a CLG took 5 years to complete, and Neely stands as the first town in 8 years to do so.
Our history made us who we are, and it also is helping to dictate our future.
Looking ahead, Sheridan Simonson hopes that Neely's achievement will inspire other towns in northeast Nebraska to follow suit. Reporting for News Channel Nebraska, this is Luke Stera.
Recall for pet owners. Over 30,000 containers of eyelid wipes for dogs have been recalled because of the risk of harmful bacteria. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says infection-causing bacteria can start to grow inside the container after it's been opened. The recall includes 45-count Project Watson eyelid wipes by Bausch & Lomb. The eyelid wipes sold at stores nationwide, including PetSmart and Walmart. Consumers also may have bought them at Chewy.com or Amazon. The CPSC says you should immediately stop using them and throw them out. But before you do, take a picture of the container. You'll need that to get a refund. You can visit eyelidwiperecall.com to submit your request. Well, if you've been late to work or class recently because your alarm didn't go off, if you have an iPhone, it could be part of a larger problem. Some iPhone users have turned to social media with that very complaint, saying they've overslept because they can't hear their alarm. Apple has told NBC News the company is working to fix the issue, but it's unknown how many iPhone users are affected. In the meantime, some users have said that turning off the Attention Aware feature has helped solve the problem. It's a feature that allows an iPhone to check whether someone's looking at their device. And if they are, the phone lowers the sound of the alerts.